Welcome back to FM Story. We're approaching the end of our second season with Sporting. There's 9 games left in the league. We're 1 point behind Porto, and we've got a big game coming up in the middle of April against them. Can we go on and win the title? Let's find out. Before we do get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment, subscribe. And without further ado, let's get going. We've made it to the middle of April, and it's now time for the make or break game against Porto. April started pretty well, and prior to the last game we played, we had a sliver of hope that basically Porto slipped up, but we weren't able to take advantage of it. We started April with a 2-0 victory away at Boavista. 2 early goals from Marcos Leonardo and Thiago Tomas. Really nice controlled performance. Plenty of chances created, kept them relatively quiet at the back, and overall a pretty decent performance. We then went away to Portimonense, who are up towards the European places. We got off to a really good start. Thiago Tomas with another goal really early on. Trincao added a second just before the hour. We were under no real threat, and again another quite comfortable victory. Following on from this game, we were playing at the weekend, and Porto were playing the day before. Porto drew 0-0 with Arouca, which meant had we won the next game, we would have gone top going into the game against Porto. However, we went away to Moreirense, who were in the relegation zone at the time, and basically we were abysmal, and we lost to a cross that was looped up off Matthias Rice and over the top of Lafont, and we just could not get back into the game. I mean, we barely created anything after they scored. Just really a really poor performance when we could at least afford it, which means that going into the game against Porto, we need to actually beat them if we're probably going to have a chance of winning the title. As you can see, looking at the league table, we're 2 points behind them, level on games played and everything like that. They've got a better goal difference, but really, if we're gonna win the title this season, we need to come away with a win against Porto in this next game. So going into the game against Porto, we've made a few changes to the team that played that last game against Moreirense. Jerison Justus coming at right back. Diamande is back from suspension, so he's coming to centre of defence. Mansverk's reverted back to the defensive midfield role, and Menino's come in because he wasn't fully fit for the last game. And we made a change in the attacking three. We had been playing Leonardo wide on the left and Tomas through the middle just to get them both into the team. But given how the last game went, I don't know that we can afford to do that. So Zizou's coming on the left-hand side and Marcos Leonardo's gone back through the middle. It does mean that we do have quite a bit of firepower on the bench if we do need it, but ultimately we need to go out there and put on a performance and hopefully come away with a win, put us in pole position for the title. They've got a free kick. That was far too easy. Thank God he skied that. Right, Trincao with the corner. They've hit it clear. Menino has run off it and looks like he's struggling. Right, Menino's won the ball back. Diamande, Mansverk, White and Cow. Give wider still to Jerison Just. Can you get the ball across? Oh, in exactly the way that we conceded against Moreirense, we've scored with the aid of a massive deflection. So San Just pulls it back. Mansverk hits it, it loops up over the defender and gave the keeper no chance. And that's pretty much against the run of play from what we've seen in the highlights so far. Right, so we made one change at half-time. Brought Nuno Santos on for Zizo wide left. He's taking the corner. Oh, Quates headed just over. Right, Quates, Manswerk, onto Menino. Nuno Santos looking for Morita breaking through, and they've nicked it back. Rice, Manswerk, Nuno Santos, Leonardo. Oh! What a save. Exactly what we needed. In the end, we turned it on a bit and created some chances and got the goal, obviously. I think in the first half they were the better team. We were the better team in the second half. But the most important thing was to come away with that win. Now, everything's in our own hands going into the last, I think, 5 games of the season. Yes, 5 games of the season left. Everything's in our own hands. And we can only blame ourselves from here if we don't win the title. We've made it to the final day of the season, and the title is still up for grabs. As long as we avoid defeat in our final game of the season at home to Rio Ave, we will be crowned champions for this season. We did our very best after beating Porto to try and throw it away, but unfortunately, we did our very best after beating Porto to try and throw the title away, but fortunately for us, Porto were trying harder than us to throw it away. So immediately after the Porto game, we went away to Braga and controlled the game and got caught with a sucker punch with Horta scoring just before the hour. We just didn't look like scoring after that either. We only had 3 shots on target. It was a really poor, a really flat performance following on from that big win against Porto. We then went away to Maritimo and put in a decent performance. We weren't really under much threat until late on when they had a decent chance. We took the lead early on through Gabriel Menino, and Marcus Leonardo wrapped it up just before injury time. Just a really comprehensive performance, which was much needed following on from that Braga game. We were then at home to Portimonense, and Thiago Thomas was outstanding. He picked up a hat-trick. Trincao added another, and a comfortable 4-0 victory. And at this point, everything started to look like we were actually going to do it, and we weren't going to throw it away. And then in the last game, we went away to Chavez, and it was an eventful game. Quates tapped home from a rebound early on to give us the lead. Manswerk then missed a penalty. Thiago Thomas added a second after a brilliant break from a corner. Gabriel Menino picked the ball up on the edge of the box and basically ran from box to box before sliding in Thomas, who scored. Straight after that, Marcus Leonardo was sent off for 2 yellow cards, so he's going to be missing from the last day of the season. And then Diamande added a third in just after the hour, just to make it secure, make it comfortable, and led us going into the final day in pole position. What the table looks like at the moment is we are top on 78 points. Porto was second on 76 points. If they win and we draw, it comes down to head-to-head, which is actually level. We both won a game apiece. We've both scored 2 goals and conceded 2, obviously. But what it then comes down to is away goals. So in that second game of the season, where we went away to Porto and got beat, we scored an injury time goal, which at this moment in time, if we draw and they win, is going to be what wins us the title. Hopefully, though, we can go in and put in a performance. Rio Ave haven't nothing to play for, really. They're down in 12th, 38 points. They're safe. They're not going to get into Europe. So hopefully we can go in and just put in a performance and win the game, win the title with the minimum of stress involved. Going into this final game of the season, we've been forced into 2 changes. So as we said, Marcus Leonardo suspended, so Zizo's going to come in on the left-hand side. and Jerickson just is injured. So Esgaio's coming in at right back, just the extra experience over Goncalo, Estevez, just in case we need it. Goncalo Inacio was injured for the last game, still not fully fit, but he's on the bench just in case we need him. And hopefully we can go in and just get something from this game. Hopefully we can get off to a quick start. We're at home, so we can give the fans something to cheer for and a bit of a party. Thiago Thomas is through straight away. Flashes it across the face of goal. Good save by Lafont. And he comes and claims the corner as well. Right, they are attacking far too much for my liking. Oh! Right, here's Rice with the corner. What a header from Coates. Puts us in front. And now we've just got to make sure we don't do anything stupid. Powered through at the near post, beat 3 of them in the air. Right, so we've done exactly what we needed to. Everything's looking good. As long as we don't concede 2 without scoring, we're in a strong position in the going into the second half. So Porto are obviously winning. We are struggling to get the ball at the start of the second half. Right, Menino driving forward. Can you get it across? No, back to Estevez. Onto Morita. Big deflection. And that's got to be the title now. What the keeper was doing is anyone's guess. So Goncalo Estevez into Morita. Takes a shot, picks a big deflection. And why the keeper decided to parry it straight to Vitor Roque is anyone's guess. And that should be us done and dusted for the title unless we do something ridiculously stupid in the second half. Right, so we've made some changes just to bring some fresh legs on, including bringing on Luis Neto, who's about to retire at the end of the season. Give him one last run out. And there we go. We've won the title. I don't think anyone really expected this, considering prior to the season, we were expected to challenge for the title, and then the board changed their mind to qualifying for the Europa League. So I think this is kind of taken everyone by surprise. But basically, we've done the double. We've won the Allianz Cup. We've won the league. Had a pretty decent season, all in all. Slightly disappointed with the performance in the Champions League, but we managed to get out into the Europa League. Obviously, next season, the league phase starts, so it's another different aspect of things. So time for the end of season review. Obviously we can see we won the league, we won the Allianz Cup. So new arrivals, one deal was already done, which is the Trincao one. That was already done before we took over. It was already agreed the previous season. We signed Shqiri on a free transfer as a replacement for Ugarte. Played well. Had a few injury problems, but nothing to complain about. Albin Lafont was our first choice when we were looking to sign a keeper in the summer. Obviously, that search had to be stepped up when Adan retired at the end of last season. But overall, 53 games played, really good performances. Vitor Roque was always going to be more one for the future, but he started 14 games. He's got 14 in 35 in total, 5 assists, some promising things for the future. And Biaka was signed on a free transfer, but that was more of a squad depth one. And probably we could have done without signing him. We've not really needed to use him too much. In terms of outgoings, Pedro Porro was obviously already done. Braganca has done well at Udinese, but he was always going to struggle to get into our midfield. Ugarte, we needed to sell on to fund some of the transfers we did in the summer, and the rest of the deals really aren't anything important. So, in the end, the board expected us to qualify for the Europa League. We obviously won the league. Thiago Thomas was our top goal scorer in the league. He really picked up in the second half of the season. And as far as the board's concerned, it was an A+. The fans slightly less impressed. The fans after we won the league, it was only a B-, but the board really happy. I mean, one of the key goals was that the goal we scored in injury time against Porto, because had it come down to a draw, had we drawn on the last day of the season, we would have won the league on that away goal. Some slightly disappointing results. Obviously, the Benfica game at the beginning of February, where we were 2-1 up against 10 men and then lost 3-2. And then games we should never have lost, like the Estoril game, the Moreirense game, and really the Braga game at home, we shouldn't have lost either. Champions League, they expected us to be competitive. I would argue we weren't even close to being competitive when you look at, we conceded 5 against Fiorentina, 4 against PSG twice. And in the end, we kind of snuck our way into the third place spot to drop down into the Europa League, where we did reasonably well. We comfortably beat Nice in the first knockout round, and then Newcastle, we were right in with it up until the last 5 minutes of the second leg, when we just struggled for fitness and for strong legs, and they just overcame us in those last 5 or 10 minutes. Attack to Portugal, really disappointing way to go out against AC Viseu, but that you could argue that not having those extra games has kind of helped us in the second half of the season with the league. And then the Allianz Cup, we won both the games in the group. We just about snuck past Benfica in the semi-final, and then just about snuck past Porto in the final to win that trophy as well. So we have gone with the 4-3-3 mostly this season. Where we've had some rotation has generally been that left-hand side of midfield. Going into the season, we probably thought that Marcus Edwards was going to play wide right, but Trincão's performances when he came in meant Edwards couldn't get back into the team. Marcus Leonardo and Thiago Thomas in particular have both been really good through the middle. And we've got 3 really good centre-halves that we can rotate between in Inacio, Diamande and Coates. And that's season 2 done. And let's hope we can add to the squad in the summer to bounce back and retain the title in season 3 as well. And that's the end of this episode. Nail-biting, title down to the wire, but we managed to pick it up and end the season with 2 trophies. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time when we look to see if we can retain those trophies in season 3.